The helicopter's rotors beat the air into a frantic roar, flattening the tall grass beneath it as it hovered low over the valley. Inside, the noise felt even louder, pressing against Maya's chest until it was hard to breathe. She sat stiffly on the bench, fingers clenched around the straps of her safety harness, eyes fixed on the open door in the ground far below. She had begged not to come on this trip. The school called it an advanced leadership excursion, but Maya knew better. From the moment she transferred in, Mr. Dalton had made it clear she didn't belong. Her accent, her skin, the way she answered questions with confidence instead of deference. He smiled when others laughed at her and stayed silent when they crossed lines. Now he stood by the open door, one hand braced against the frame, the wind tugging at his jacket. "You're always claiming you're brave," he shouted over the engine. "Always acting like you're special." Maya shook her head, tears streaming sideways from her eyes. "I never said that. I just want to go home." Behind her, Logan snorted. He was Dalton's favorite student, big, loud, and cruel in a way that made other kids nervous. "She's scared," he said, grinning. "Figures." The pilot glanced back uneasily. "Sir, we're not cleared for." "Relax," Dalton snapped. "We're just teaching a lesson." Maya's heart hammered. She tried to stand, but Logan grabbed her arm, his grip tight and mocking. "Let go," she cried. Dalton leaned in close, his voice low and sharp. "You people always exaggerate. You always play the victim. Maybe once you feel real fear, you'll stop lying." "I'm not lying," Maya whispered. Dalton nodded once. That was all it took. Logan shoved her. The world vanished. For a split second, there was nothing, no sound, no weight, just the dizzying sense of falling through open space. Maya screamed, but the wind tore the sound away. The ground rushed up, her mind flooding with panic and regret and the certainty that she would never see her mother again. Then the harness yanked hard against her shoulders. The emergency descent system deployed with a sharp snap, the fabric catching air and slowing her fall. Pain shot through her arms, but it was real, solid pain, proof she was still alive. The ground rose more gently now, trees swaying instead of blurring. She hit the earth hard, rolling through dry grass and dirt, knocking the breath from her lungs. For a moment she lay still, stunned, then forced herself to inhale. Above her, the helicopter wobbled. "What did you do?" the pilot yelled. Logan staggered back from the door, his face drained of color. She didn't fall like she was supposed to. Dalton stared down at the ground below, eyes wide. "That's not possible." But it was. Maya pushed herself onto her elbows, then her knees. Every muscle trembled, but she stood. Slowly, deliberately, she looked up and raised one arm. Inside the helicopter, panic exploded. "She's alive," the pilot shouted. "She's standing." Dalton's authority shattered in an instant. "Turn around. We need to get her back." "You pushed a student out of my aircraft," the pilot snapped. "I'm calling this in." What Dalton didn't realize, what he hadn't bothered to check, was that the helicopter's interior cameras were running, recording everything. The comments, the shove, the stunned silence when Maya didn't disappear forever. On the ground, Maya unclipped the harness with shaking fingers and sat down hard, her legs giving out beneath her. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, growing louder by the second. She hugged her knees, crying now, not just from fear but from the overwhelming relief of being alive. Emergency crews arrived first, then police. The helicopter landed in a nearby clearing, and Dalton's protests fell flat the moment. Officers reviewed the footage. Logan wouldn't meet anyone's eyes, his bravado gone, replaced by trembling denial. Maya was wrapped in a blanket and checked by medics. "You're lucky," one of them said gently. Maya shook her head. "No, I was prepared." They looked at her, confused. "I always follow the rules," she said quietly. "I wore the harness the way they taught us." Dalton and Logan were taken away in handcuffs, their earlier confidence replaced by frantic excuses. Witnesses came forward. The pilot gave a full statement. The truth was no longer something Dalton could talk his way around. Later, as the sun dipped low and painted the valley gold, Maya sat in the back of an ambulance, staring at her scraped hands. They hurt. They shook. But they were real. She had been pushed out of the sky by people who thought she was weak, disposable, invisible. She had landed on her feet. And as the doors closed and the vehicle pulled away, Maya realized something that would stay with her long after the bruises faded. They had tried to erase her. Instead, they exposed themselves. And the world, at last, was watching.